all, it's CJ here. I don't do an introduction very often. My puppy dog is about to bark. I think his bark is really loud and it puts me off what I'm going to say. My name's CJ. I've had fibromyalgia and ME, myalgic encephalitis, which is the same thing as chronic fatigue syndrome, for 42 years. I'm 62 and registered disabled, and altogether I have 11 diagnosed illnesses, conditions. The main one being fibromyalgia. Now, I started this channel just over a year ago in order to try and help people who were stuck, needed some information, just whatever I could do to help, I wanted to do, because I wanted to make use of that 42 years worth of suffering, make some use out of it. We've got a beautiful community here, honestly. I am so blessed with the most incredible community. Everyone is so lovely and caring and kind, and I'm just utterly blessed. I really am. I don't edit my videos. I'm not well enough. Hopefully you can understand most of what I'm saying. So we're going to go from you've been diagnosed. You've been given that little leaflet and you've been discharged from the rheumatologist. You don't see them again. Once they've diagnosed you, that's your time with them is done. You don't see them again. Now, in an ideal world, your GP, your doctor, would put a treatment plan in place for you. Does this happen? No. I've never ever heard anybody say that that's happened for them. Unless, of course, you go privately, in which case you get whatever you want. I've spoken to probably hundreds of people with fibromyalgia, so it's a joint thing of my experience and having talked to others and doing some research as well. So you've got your diagnosis. If you've waited a really long time for that diagnosis, or you've been convinced you've got fibromyalgia for a long time, you may find that once you get that diagnosis, your mood falls off a cliff. And I've had so many people say to me, no, CJ, that won't happen to me. And then I've had people come back to me and say, you were right. And it's not about me being right. I'm not egotistical. It's not about that at all. It's to warn you that from what I can gather, and I know how many people it's happened to, the longer you wait for that diagnosis, once you get it, for some reason your mood just plummets because you're, well, okay, what do I do now? So hopefully that's where this video will come in useful. Excuse me for a moment. So you have your diagnosis. What I would recommend you do now is keep a symptom diary for 2 weeks. All you have to do is bullet point each day what's bothering you the most. Now you might have, I know there's 30 different symptoms that can go along with fibromyalgia. I read somewhere a couple of days ago there's something like 200. So who knows? There's a lot. You can have a lot going on. But if you pick out what is really bothering you the most, be it pain, be it fatigue, IBS, restless leg syndrome, whatever it is, keep a diary and just bullet point. So on the Monday, you may say low pain levels, high fatigue, really bad restless leg syndrome, something like that. That's all you need to do, just each day, bullet point, and keep that for 2 weeks. Now, even if you don't ever show that to a doctor or need it for anything, it's useful for you to have for yourself to look back. Because I find that with all the brain fog, fibro fog that goes on, we can kind of forget that, oh look, I can see from that I'm getting IBS every however many days. And you may be able to sort of see a pattern. So it might be just useful for yourself to keep. But what I recommend you do after keeping your symptom diary, have a look through it. You might not need to look through it, you might already know, and decide what do you want to tackle first. So if your pain levels are really... Oh, I meant to say, in your symptom diary, if you're writing about pain, try to give it a number from 1 to 10 of how bad it is. Now, I'm going to try and put one of those cards up somewhere because I've done a video on pain scales. So hopefully I will learn how to put those cards up, and I'll put it somewhere. So if you give your pain a number between 1 and 10, how bad the pain is. So you look back through your diary, you might already know what do you want to tackle first. So the areas that you can go through the NHS for are things like pain management, physio, cognitive behavioural therapy, CBT, talking about medication with your doctor, and a new one, which I think is actually mainly for depression, is eye movement desensitization reprocessing. But I need to check on that. That might be, say, just for depression. Now, I was going to tell you about my depression this week, but we don't want to go there. So, if you decide physio is what you want, contact your GP. Yeah, I know, that's a laugh in itself. Contact your GP, and it may be something you can self-refer for. In some areas, you can, as I say, refer yourself for physio, but you do need to check with your doctor what the situation is in your area. Sorry, I've got such a dry mouth. Where did I get to? So, physio. You want physio. So you'll go to your doctor and ask about that. If you decide you would want to go for pain management, do that first, because the waiting lists are just getting longer and longer and longer for everything. And with the current doctor strikes, who knows where we're going to be. So again, speak to your doctor. It's something he or she can refer you for, is pain management. And one of the first things when you get to see somebody from the pain management clinic is they will ask you to keep a symptom diary. So, boom, you've got your symptom diary. Take it with you to your first pain management appointment. Make yourself a little note in your diary if you like me and you won't remember. So keeping that diary would be excellent for pain management, because they will almost certainly want to see it, and they will definitely want to know what your pain levels are. And as I say, I'll try and put that pain scale up. If you don't want to watch the video, it's on my community posts. I've actually put a picture of the levels from 1 to 10. So I've given you all the things you can be referred for by your doctor that I know of. Physio, pain management, CBT. The eye movement, I'm not sure on that one. Other things that you could do, but you're going to have to pay for them yourself, would be a gentle, and I really emphasise the word gentle, massage. Very, very gentle massage. When you ask, you do not want a deep tissue massage that will hurt like, you know what. You want a very gentle massage. Acupuncture, you might find that useful. But again, you're going to have to pay for that. Oh, something else I've just thought of that your doctor may be able to refer you for is hydrotherapy treatment. And one of my doctors told me that the being weightless in the water is really good for your pain. So those are the things that you can look out for to do. Really sorry. But bear in mind, you're going to be looking at waiting lists for everything other than what you're paying for. If you can afford to go privately, you know, you get an appointment tomorrow morning. You know, it's not like the NHS. Although I'm not knocking the NHS. I'm not at all. I have spent huge amounts of time in hospital, and the good care that I've received far outweighs any of the bad. So I'm not knocking the NHS, but the waiting times are really the highest level I've ever known in the 42 years that I've had fibro and everything else that goes with it. Another thing I just thought to mention quickly, if you're offered amitriptyline, that may be something that your rheumatologist may recommend. It is an antidepressant, but only once you reach a certain level of milligrams that you're taking. So don't be distressed if you don't want to take antidepressants, because at a low level, I think it's under 20 milligrams. I could be wrong. I need to check on that. I think under 20 milligrams it doesn't act as an actual antidepressant. It does help, or it has helped me with anxiety, with a little bit with pain, but definitely with sleep. But the biggest thing to take away from this about amitriptyline is do not take it before you get into bed at night. Take it about 6 o'clock in the evening, because if you take it just before you get into bed, nearly everybody has a really bad hungover feeling the next day, but like you've got a hangover, which obviously isn't very pleasant. If you take it at 6 o'clock, that stops that hungover feeling. So, as I say, I think amitriptyline kicks in also as an antidepressant at something like 50 milligrams, but there's no way you would be given that higher dosage to start with, because they titrate it upwards. So I very much hope you found this useful. If you have any questions at all, I will do my utmost to answer them. I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. And all I'm doing is trying to help and just making some suggestions. I'm not telling you what to do. What you do is completely up to you. But I know a lot of people get their diagnosis, go down that depression hole, and then once they've climbed themselves out of it, they're a bit stuck as to where to start. So if you found this useful, I would be so grateful if you would let me know, because it lets me know what sort of content to put out for you. I'm sorry if you have had a diagnosis, but at least you now know what you're dealing with, and you can start working on getting some help. I'm sorry this video has dragged on a bit longer than I usually like to make them, but I wanted to get all those other little points in as well. So, namaste, my gorgeous friends. God bless, take care, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Bye now.